Hey, sports fans, PB&C Sports Chaos, and we're back. And PB's got a little road trip stuff he's going to talk about in a minute. But we're going to talk some football, and PB's got a good A and Z list this week. A to Z. A is going to be the most 5 players who are going to have the most impact for the rest of the season going into the playoffs. And his Z list is 5 players who will let their teams down going towards the playoffs. I can't wait to hear this one. All right, we'll do a little 2-minute drill real quick. PB, last week, college football. Whoa! Your Florida Gators, you picked them to be in the college football playoffs, 23.5-point favorites over LSU, and due to a shoe-throwing incident, they are not going to be in the college football playoffs, even if they beat Alabama tomorrow, I'm sorry to say. That was horrendous. LSU wins that game because of that stupid penalty. I don't know what the kid was thinking. Oh, hey, and North Carolina, Miami, we both picked them. It was a tough weekend in Miami. You went to the Kansas City game. You lost that. Saturday, we both picked Miami to win that game. You lost that. Horrible. 2 kids from North Carolina rushed for 544 yards in that game. Unbelievable. 62-26. Ugly. I thought the Canes were back, but not after that. I don't know what to say. A good news note, Sarah Fuller. We were hoping she got the kick. The other kicker was back. She did. She got 2 extra points. First woman in Division I Power 5 football to play, score points. Good for Sarah Fuller. We love it because we're both girl dads. PB, did you catch this? Ball State, they beat Western Michigan last week. But did you see the end of this game?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Western Michigan had 15 laterals. They ended up scoring with the team on the field, reminiscent of Cal Stanford with the band on the field. It was called back to one of those 15 laterals was a forward lateral. What an epic ending that was. I watched it over and over just to count the laterals. It was 15 laterals, by the way. Unbelievable.
If someone got tackled on that play, you wouldn't even know if the person that tackled them was a player or not.
You had no idea. Matter of fact, 2 guys tried to tackle the runner. One kid held the other guy back, said, no, we're not legal. It was unbelievable. All right. Hey, NFL. Last week, Monday Night Football, one of the best games we've seen in the whole season. The Ravens, which one of us picked, they beat the Cleveland Browns in an awesome game, 47-42. Never mind that score. Something about that we'll talk about a little later. But Baker was awesome. I thought he was incredible in that game. Lamar was unbelievable. He came off the toilet, literally came off the toilet to win the game, right? On that 4th down and 5. Unbelievable game. By the way, speaking of unbelievable, Indy crushed Vegas. I know you picked Indy. I thought Vegas had a slimmer of hope. But Indy got the New York Giants defensive coordinator fired the previous week. Now their defensive coordinator was fired by that. And then last night, Vegas got their defensive coordinator fired. Vegas came back last night to play San Diego, or LA now, Chargers. They lose. I don't know what to think of this team anymore. I'm done. I'm done with Vegas. I'm done with it. Hey, Washington football team, NFC East. Somebody may actually go 500, PB. Can you believe this? They're on the verge of going 500.
They are.
I don't know what to say. This is unbelievable. Lastly, last weekend, I'll let you speak to this. I thought KC manhandled the Dolphins. You might think otherwise, but I never felt the game was in doubt. What do you think? You were there live. You got to report live for us.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Miami's defense is the real deal. They are ball hawks, and they go after the ball. It was evident in that game that Kansas City turned it over 4 times. Mahomes threw 3 picks. You sacked a few times. They were up 10-0, the Dolphins were. But I still never doubt Kansas City and their ability to come back from it. It's almost like watching the Patriots in their heyday. You know, it's just you just never at any point in the game feel like they're out of it. And they came right back and they scored a lot of unanswered points there before Miami scored a little bit at the end. I'm with you though. I wouldn't say it was a manhandling of the Dolphins, but it was certainly a win. And you know, it was hard fought though. It was a hard fought win for them.
All right, I'll give you that. All right, Let's talk a little college football. We're going to make some picks in a minute for tomorrow's starting tonight with the USC game against now Oregon. We're supposed to be Washington, but COVID took care of that. But PB, we've talked about this all year long, and once again, the CFP committee puts 4 teams in the top 4 for the same 4 spots for the last 5 weeks in a row. And I have a feeling no matter what the outcomes are tomorrow, we're going to see Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Do they have to change these playoffs? Do they have to change the way they pick the stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, the BCS was better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The only thing that could, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, A&M might sneak in. They might slip into that.
I think no. I think the only way that A&M might sneak in is if Notre Dame beats Clemson. Notre Dame loses, they're still in, I think.
You think so? Okay. Yeah. So then the only answer to it really comes down to putting more teams in, because you have those other teams like A&M, even you could even put a Cincinnati into the mix, right?
Coastal Carolina.
Right. If you're going to put 8 teams in, then and then you have these situations like, what if Florida did win last week? Let's just say Florida blew out LSU last week, right? But then they lost the championship game in the SEC because they play in East and West in the SEC. Now you have Florida with 2 losses on the season. Maybe they still get in. Or what if a team loses to the same team, but it's twice? To
your point about the Florida game, I'll just say this. What if Florida won last week against LSU with now leaving them with only 1 loss in the season? They beat Alabama, because right now, even if they beat Alabama tomorrow, most people say they won't get in.
They won't. No, they won't. Not with that loss. If they had won last week and then they beat Alabama, a 1-loss team beating Alabama would probably get in.
And then people might say, well, Alabama lost in their tournament. What about somebody else, right? Obviously, it wouldn't be Texas A&M because Alabama beat Texas A&M, but then does Cincinnati get a shot? And God forbid, the Pac-12. Now people are saying USC has a shot. The FBI says USC is a 50% shot to get to the college playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of things would have to fall their way for that to happen. But what the bad part of this whole story is Ohio State. Because Ohio State's going to go 6-0, get the minimum games that they had to. They're going to get in. They're going to get the 4. And they're going to play Alabama in the first round. And I just don't like it. We've been saying against this whole Big Ten thing all year long, and now here we are, and it's staring us right in the face.
They're going to be in there. All right. Well, let's do some picks. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's start with this Pac-12 game tonight. Oregon replacing Washington. Go figure. They're going to go and play USC, which, by the way, that was what it was supposed to be all along. Oregon lost 2 games during the year and looked like crap. Yep. USC's favored by 3. Who do you like?
Yeah, this game down in Southern California, I do like USC, and I'll lay the points with 3. Is it 3.5?
3 points.
Yeah, I'll lay the points and take USC.
I'm with you. All right, the Big Ten game. We got to talk about it. Northwestern. I love Patty, the coach of the Northwestern, Patty Fitzgerald. They're the 14th team in the country, but it's a 20.5-point spread favoring Ohio State. What do you think?
Yeah, so this game's being played in the Dome in Indianapolis. Ohio State, better football team. Northwestern certainly has won some surprising games this year. They've been playing well. It's a lot of points. And you know what? The spread's actually come down to 18.5 since the opening spread. So that means the money's coming in on Northwestern. I do like Northwestern to cover the spread. I think Ohio State will win the football game, but Northwestern will cover.
Do you want to go at 18.5 or 20.5?
Hey, if you're giving me the 20.5, since I'm taking the dog, I'll take the 20.5.
I'm laying them. Ohio State wins this thing dominating. 20 points.
Okay.
All right, Big 12. My Oklahoma Sooners in a rematch game. They lost earlier this year, 37-30 to Iowa State. They're a 5.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think this is a revenge game for Oklahoma. They lost to Iowa State earlier in the year, right? So I think Oklahoma wins this game. But I'm gonna say Iowa State hangs in there though enough to cover the spread.
Woo! I was tempted to say the same thing when it was 6.5. but at 5.5, I'm going to go OU. All right.
Okay.
SEC, Alabama is a 17-point favorite over your college football playoff pick, Florida. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Florida, they dropped that game last week. They're out of it now. Alabama's just a dominant football team. I know it seems like a high spread, but Vegas knows more than we do there with that number. Alabama's just dominant. I'm taking the Bama. I'm laying the points.
I agree with you that. Same thing. I think Vegas knows more. That's why I took Ohio State in that 20 points. I'm going to take Alabama and lay the 17 as well. All right. This game will be a little different. Even though Clemson's a 10.5-point favorite, I'm not so sure. Notre Dame versus Clemson, what do you think?
Yeah, and again, another revenge game since Notre Dame beat Clemson early, and of course Trevor's back. So I'm going to lay the points and take the Tigers here.
You are. Wow.
Yeah.
I believe Clemson wins. I think Notre Dame covers though.
Okay. Well, we're different on 3 this week. 3 out of 5 we're different on.
I know. Last week I had a tough week. I was 1-2-1. We had a push in one game. Where'd you go last week?
I may have done the same.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, now that we know who we think is going to win these games, who are going to be in the college football playoffs in your mind?
Alabama's there for sure. I think Clemson's going to take care of business and be there. If Notre Dame loses to Clemson, if Notre Dame wins, obviously Notre Dame's in. The question is, does Clemson get in with 2 losses, one of them being with Trevor, right? Because we know they're a good football team, but if they lose, Clemson could fall out. I think the Clemson-Notre Dame loser might be out.
So you think Notre Dame with 1 loss will be out?
Yeah, I think A&M. I think A&M having only 1 loss to Alabama looks better than Clemson having only 1 loss to. Notre Dame having only 1 loss to Clemson.
That will be interesting. All right, I think Notre Dame gets in regardless. And get this, PB. I think if Notre Dame loses to Clemson, if the game is somewhat competitive, they keep them at 3. They don't move Ohio State up. Alabama plays Ohio State 1 versus 4. And when you get a trifecta, Clemson plays Notre Dame once again 2 versus 3.
Yeah, that would be interesting, right?
It would be, yeah.
That would be interesting. So from there, I think we're looking at another potential Clemson-Alabama final.
I think so as well. I'm with you on that one. All right. Hey, NFL. We don't have very many great games going on this week. By the way, Pittsburgh lost 2 in a row now. I think you were right, PB. Maybe they're not as good as everybody thought, but they will still get to the playoffs. I got to ask you, though, speaking of this, we got the run to playoffs. 3 games left. This is what I'm going to ask you. Give me your A-list. 5 players who are going to make a difference and carry their team into the playoffs or a better seeding.
Yeah, and you know what? I took this and put my own little spin on it in a way, and I took 5 players in this category that do not have that high of expectations.
Okay. Ooh, I like that angle.
In other words, if they don't do it, no one's going to really remember.
Okay.
Okay? A year or 2 from now, it'll be a foregone conclusion. People won't even bring it up. So at number 5, I have Ryan Tannehill. Right now on a 9-4 Tennessee team. He's got to play Detroit. He has to play at Green Bay, and he finishes off at Houston. Those are some, games that could propose some problems. And if they
definitely, yes, yeah.
Right, and if they drop 2 out of 3 and go 10-6, depending on how the chips fall, that might not get him into the playoffs. They might be a 10-6 team that doesn't make it in the AFC potentially, but all they got to do is win 1. If they lose all 3, then now they're in a situation where they're probably out. So
okay.
We'll see. Green Bay and at Houston's not going to be easy, and we'll see what happens in Detroit. This could be a little sneaky game, especially if Stafford's not playing and not game planning properly.
Ooh, all right.
Number 4 is going to be the Minnesota Vikings fearsome 4. So it's going to be the combination of Kirk Cousins along with Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. That offense needs to step up and win games. They're down 1 game under 500 right now. They're playing Chicago this week. They need to win this game to stay in the playoff hunt. Unlike the AFC, though, an NFC team, a 9-7 team is probably going to get in, not counting the losing record team that gets in from the NFC East. So a little bit of a different formula there, but they have to step up and play for sure. Number 3, the Washington football team's Alex Smith.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
That's a good one. Yep.
They're one game up right now on the Giants.
All right.
They have Seattle at home, Carolina at home, and then they finish off at Philly. There's 2 games in there. I mean, they could even surprise Seattle this week, but there's a couple games in there that they should be able to win. So this team could end up with a 500 record.
Yeah.
And theoretically end up 9-7. We'll see how it goes. But I think that's my number 3 team. Number two, Tua.
Yeah.
I think Tua's got to step up and play. Right now, they're the number 7 seed. They're the number 7 seed in the AFC. They're an 8-5 team, but here's the rest of their way. New England. Then they got to go at Vegas and at Buffalo. They probably need to win 2 of those 3 games. You got to go 10-6 in this. And the good thing is they have a lot of the tiebreakers right now, which puts them in that 7th spot. But they need to win 2 of those games to guarantee themselves a spot. They can afford to lose 1, but they can't lose 2. That's
By the way, you remember Z's bold prediction last week? They go 0 for the rest of the year.
Losing out. And then number 1, my other number 7 seed that I predicted in the NFC, Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. He needs to step up and play too. Not an easy task. He's got to play Philadelphia and San Francisco and then at the LA Rams to finish off the season. Again, here's a team that's sitting, just 1 game over 500. They may need to even run the table, but they got to, again, win 2 games at least to get themselves in the conversation.
By the way, I was just thinking about this the other night after I watched that Lamar performance, and I said it during our prediction show. I think Lamar was ready to set the world on fire again, and he did. Lamar and Kyler, in my mind, are 1A and 1B as the most dynamic players in the game. And I know Patrick Mahomes does all these incredible things, but there's not anybody in the game like Lamar or Kyler on one play can change the game, in my mind.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing with Kyler and Tua is if they don't get their teams in this year, next year people aren't going to think about that. It's not they're not getting their teams down as much as my other 5 I have here on the Z list.
Yeah. Let me give you that's a good segue. What's your Z list? What 5 players will choke and cause their team not to make the playoffs?
You're right. And again, this is more these are players that have higher expectations, are more in the spotlight, will be remembered for choking if they choke. So the potential is there to choke. I'm not saying they're going to choke. They're not choke players, but they have the potential to based on their schedule. And if they do, it will be remembered. At number 5, I have Russell Wilson.
Whoa, this is getting interesting.
He's got to play at Washington. He's got to play Carolina at home, and he has to play at San Francisco. The team's 9-4. If he loses 2 of those games, there's a chance they might not make it. And if he loses all 3, absolutely, potentially out.
No, you're right.
So that's a good one.
Right.
Number 4, TB12.
Yeah. Wow, you're on fire.
Right now the team is 8-5. They're hanging right in there, barely. And they got to play Atlanta twice. They haven't seen Atlanta yet this year.
Right.
They have Atlanta on the road and Atlanta at home. And then their other game is at Detroit. So, again, there's just potential there. 2 of these games are in domes. We'll just see what happens. I think TB12, again, spotlight's on him. So, if he does choke, it will be remembered. Right?
Yeah.
3, Jared Goff and the LA Rams. Another team 9-4, but they have a schedule that includes the Jets this week in LA, which I just have this weird feeling the Jets might find a way to win this game. The Jets are going to win a game this year. They're going to win a game, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but there's only 3 games left.
You think the Jets could possibly upset the Rams?
I do think there's a chance they might upset them. But here's the thing.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Because that Rams are looking ahead. They got to play at Seattle next week, and then they finish off with Arizona.
That's a good point. You're right. They could be looking ahead. You're right.
They could be looking ahead. There's 2 hugely important games there. So they may fall asleep this week. But, again, here's a team at 9-4 that if they lose all 3 of those games or 2 out of 3, they could be on the cusp of not making the playoffs.
All right.
Number 2 is Baker Mayfield. Another team that's sitting at 9-4. And
That's
here's
an easy target.
Easy target, but in an easy schedule, at least the next couple of weeks, he's playing at the Jets and at the Giants. Well, at the Giants this week and then at the Jets the following week. They're probably, I have a feeling they're going to lose one of those two games. Again, the Jets are going to win a game somewhere, I think. And this matchup this week against the Giants is tougher than people think. So
and we'll pick that game in a minute, yeah.
They finished at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's a tough one.
But they finished with Pittsburgh, yeah. So there's some tough games there. He loses 2 out of those 3. He's in the same situation. These all 9-4 teams I'm talking about.
So who is your number 1 choker potentially?
Number 1 choker potential. This team is the number 8 seed right now. They're not even in the playoff picture. Well, they're in the picture, but they're not in the playoffs if the season would end today. And they have a simple, easy schedule. There's no reason why this team should not be in it at the end. So if they're not, it's ultimate chokage.
Ravens.
In Jacksonville, they're playing the Giants, and they're playing at Cincinnati. And it's Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
You're going to say that.
I'm not saying he's going to choke. What I'm saying is that he has to. Out of any quarterback in the NFL right now, he has to get his team to the playoffs. If he doesn't, through that road of 3 teams, that will be the ultimate choke in the NFL this year.
That's a good list. Wow. Whew. I'm going to be watching closely. I think you might. Come on, Lamar. Prove him wrong. All right. Let's get into our picks this week. I know there's not a lot of great games going on, but we're going to pick some of them anyways. We're going to start with the Great Expectations game. It was the Great Expectations at the beginning of the year. There were supposed to be very good teams. Both of them were going to win the division. One went to the Super Bowl last year. San Fran at Dallas. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm taking San Fran. I think they have a great run game, and even without Mostert, he might not play. Jeff Wilson Jr., though, could have a big game. Dallas's run defense is porous, so I'm going to give that edge to San Francisco.
I'm with you as well. It is horrendous. All right, Chicago goes to Minnesota. Both of them are still kind of looking at the playoffs potentially. The loser is definitely out. Who do you like here?
Yeah, the loser's out, and the winner's going to be right up there and hanging with Arizona for that 7th spot. The aforementioned fearsome 4 on that offense has to step up. I'm not worried about Chicago's offense, really, so I'm going to take the Vikings here.
I'm with you. Seattle goes to Washington. A month ago, this was a no-brainer, but now all of a sudden we're seeing the real Washington defense come alive. They've been dominating in the last 2 games. Who do you like?
Yeah, and Seattle's going to play the Rams the following week, and they got to go to San Francisco to finish off the season. This is a game that's real. They have to win this game. They really do, because they could lose the next 2 after this.
And they're going east and playing a 1:00 game.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? I can't take Washington over Seattle. I'm going to take Seattle. If Washington wins this game, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe Washington won. But I'll tell you, I'm taking Seattle.
Ooh, all right. We're the same. I'm taking Seattle as well. All right. Cleveland off that tough loss to Baltimore, but Baker showed a lot. They're playing Giants, who was like Redskins. Washington. A month ago, we wouldn't have thought about this game, but yet they're right there in the playoff picture. Who do you like?
Yeah, and here you have a Giants team saying, hey, there's a good chance Seattle could take care of Washington this week and cause them to lose, and if we win, we're back tied for this division.
I know it.
And I think – I think the Giants' defense is pretty good, and they're just not doing anything too exciting on offense. And I do like their defense, but I'm going to pick – this is my upset pick. I'm taking the Giants in this game.
Wow. All right. I got Cleveland. I have a feeling that Baker bounces back.
All right.
The Super Bowl preview. Drew Brees is now playing. I don't know if he should. 11 broken ribs, punctured lung. That's a risk. But KC at New Orleans, what do you think?
Yeah, I said on the show last week I'm not picking against Kansas City the rest of the year. So I'm going to stick with that motto and take Kansas City.
I was so tempted, but I'm with you. I'm going to take KC. All right, the big one. New England goes down to Miami. They usually lose this game at the end of the season in Miami, as we've seen now the last couple of years in a row.
Yeah.
But Bill Belichick is on a 9-game winning streak against rookie quarterbacks. Who's starting for Miami?
Tua.
Rookie quarterback? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for that reason, I do like the Patriots. And the other thing here, too, is historically, the Patriots have always had these great teams over the last 20 years with TB12 in town. And Miami always seemed to figure out a way to spoil our seeding somehow at the end of the year. whether they came up to New England a couple of times, we had to come down here. We saw a horrible loss here a couple of years ago.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And this is going to be payback. Now it's the opposite. Now Miami's trying to fight for that playoff spot, and New England's going to rain on their parade. And Belichick, as you said, with rookie quarterbacks, he seems to have that number. So I'm going to take the Patriots here.
Oh, I was surprised. I thought you would take the Dolphins for sure. I get the Patriots myself, but all right. All right,
so we're only different on Cleveland and the Giants is our only different.
That's it. That's the tiebreaker for us. All right. All right. Hey, fans, we think we're going to do a little NBA preview before the Christmas games. So that'll be a good one. We'll pick those 5 games that are going to happen on Christmas Day on Wednesday night. And then, of course, we'll be back next week with our NFL talk once again. PB, good show. Thanks very much, brother.
All right.